What's up guys, it's Colbert here, back from the Colbert Vape Report. I am back here with another awesome product. I know it's been a little while, but I've been kind of short on review products. I have a new tank from Eleaf. It's the LEMO number 2. Now, I just got contacted a couple days ago from Eleaf saying that they did some changes to the LEMO. And they said they added some new features. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know, I wasn't expecting a whole new version 2, but this does have some great features. It has a wider chimney, it has better airflow, and it has filling from the top. You don't have to unscrew the top to fill this. So I'll give you a vape here. I'm using their stock coil. It's reading 0.6 ohms on my iStick 50 watt at 35 watts, 4.5 volts. It's all the way open airflow. Alright, let's take her up to 40. Get her primed. Awesome flavor, awesome production. This really rivals K-Fun-esque type flavor. It's very, very surprising. And the vapor production rivals that of the Sub-Tank and the Atlantis. Alright, I'll push it. We'll go up to 50 watts. See if I'm primed. You got a little dry there towards the end, but I usually run this about 35 watts and haven't had any problems. It all depends on how you build your coil and how you vape, your airflow style, the juice you're using. I did use a 90 VG juice in here and it wicked fine. Right now I'm using more of a 60-40 blend. But let's dive up close and take a look at the LEMO number 2. Alright, so here we have the LEMO 2 box. This is the box. Just has Eleaf here on the side. It has some information here on the back that describes the LEMO. You pop it open just like this. And here you have your tank sitting in here, which we will get to in just a second. Set that off to the side. Underneath here, you get your extras that you get with most tanks. You get an instruction manual, which does list quite a bit of information. You shouldn't have any issues as long as you read your instructions. It's not too hard. Then you also get some Japanese cotton, some Kanthal, and your usual blue screwdriver. That seems to come in every tank. Now onto the tank itself. This is the LEMO version 2. Try to open up the airflow here on the bottom. You can see we have LEMO 2 right here in front. Here on the bottom, you have Delta 2 style air holes. These are a little bit wider than the Delta 2s, so they don't seem to have a whistle. There's one on each side, and this is adjustable just by turning at the bottom. It's a little vapey right now, so it's a little hard to grab onto, but it does turn. Here you have your drip tip, and they have actually put my name on here, my first name, Tanner. They did that for, I guess, most of the reviewers. You can see the bore of the drip tip. It's a very wide bore. It is removable. Has 2 O-rings on there, and you can see down into the chamber there. But one of the major features of this tank is that you can fill this from the top without removing anything from the tank. So in order to fill this, instead of filling it from the bottom like there was on the other LEMO, you just hold on to the bottom here and you just twist. And you open up a hole there that you would use to fill in your e-liquid. Now, you'd probably need a needle nose bottle because most droppers, there's some vacuum in here. So when you do this, you have to close off your airflow all the way on the bottom so you don't get any leaking. And then you would fill it right here, which I will show you. And then once you're ready to vape, you would take this, close it off until it snaps. Then you would reopen your airflow, and you're good to go. So let's take this apart. Here on the bottom you have your 510 pin, which does stick out quite a bit, although it is non-adjustable, but it is very sturdy. This bottom piece right here twists off, and you have your firing pin in there. And then this is your airflow. You can see there's 4 holes in there, and you can use this to remove the firing pin if you need to, but I advise against that because tightening it too far can snap your pin. And then to take apart the rest of the tank, you just grab it by the top and the bottom. You unscrew the top. Pops off just like that. We have an O-ring in there in the bottom, or in the top rather, to keep juice from leaking out. You have your thick glass tank here. It's a lot thicker than the original. Your chimney is a 2-part chimney. That removes from there. And then the bottom part removes from here. And we get access to our chimney. So let's zoom in a bit here. So this is your build deck. I'm using their pre-built coil, but it is very nice. You can see how thick those juice wells are. They go very, very deep. Use a screwdriver for scale here. They go very, very deep. Everything works just fine. Let me push up this cotton here so you can see everything a little bit better. There we go. You have your airflow hole right there in the middle underneath your coil, and you can choose to either put the coil leads through these holes, or you can try to trap them underneath your screws here. This comes with a 0.5 ohm head pre-installed, but it says that this is safe down to 0.3 ohms. They don't want you to go any lower because this insulator down here might melt. So just keep that in mind when you're building this. I've not had any wicking issues. I've been doing a pseudo pancake method with my wicking, and the pseudo pancake method has seemed to work just fine. I usually just lay it down and keep it at the top of this channel right here, pushed up against the sides, and it seems to wick flawlessly. So in order to put this all back together, you would just take your bottom piece of your chimney, screw it back on. It only goes on one way, and then I adjust my cotton in there, make sure everything is nice and pushed away from the main hole down there so that I'm getting good airflow, and so I'm getting adequate wicking. Then I install my chimney top. Just like so. Place my glass onto the tank. Then you just install the top cap. Then you have to make sure to put back on your bottom airflow ring. Now after that's all said and done, you would move into the filling phase. Zoom out a little bit here so I can get in focus. Now I already opened my fill port here. Now all I have to do is close off my airflow control down here on the bottom. These will be a little stiff when you first get them, but once you juice them up, it should be just fine. Alright, I have my top, so I'm going to get some liquid out of here. And then all you would do is, well, for one, get liquid everywhere. You would just take your tip, put it in there. And it can be a little tricky at first because of surface tension. Because of the surface tension of the juice, it will want to pull up here. There you go, you're all juiced up. Let me get cleaned up here. Alright, let's get her all cleaned up. Just take it and click that back into place. Reopen my airflow. Down here on the bottom. And now I am ready to vape. So let's go back out to the regular view, talk about it a little bit, and I will give you my final thoughts on the LEMO number 2. Alright, so the LEMO 2, it is a great improvement over its predecessor, I believe. It does suffer a little bit of e-liquid loss at 3.8 milliliters because of the larger chimney and the smaller size. This is kind of in between the LEMO drop and the original. It's shorter than the original, but taller than the LEMO drop. It benefits very, very well from the increased airflow. Like I said, there is no whistle, or at least a whistle that is not as bad as the Delta's was. And it just vapes great. The flavor is great. It rivals a K-Fun in my opinion, and it does put out quite a bit of vapor. It's very, very satisfying. The build quality is very, very good. The glass is thicker. The metal, it feels like a lot sturdier than the first version did. The threading is very good. Has a nice wide bore drip tip. And of course, the filling on the top here. Now, I know it looked a little difficult in my case, but if you have more of a needle nose type bottle, it'll work a hell of a lot better than trying to use one of the big droppers. Having a needle nose bottle, you'll be able to fill it with no problems at all. And that really does help, not having to take the bottom of the tank off, unscrew a screw, and then fill up your tank, put the screw back on, and then screw the bottom back on, where you can just twist the top, fill it up, twist it back, and be done with it. The build deck, it's very easy to build on. It's easy to wick. Overall, it's just a very easy tank to use. The only complaint I would have is to maybe try to make the fill port a little bit bigger on the top in order to allow for droppers to be able to fit in there easily. Another thing would be to maybe put some knurling here on the tops and bottom for the adjustments to make them a little easier to grab onto. They are a little stiff when you first get them, so make sure to try to juice them up and get everything flowing, and then it should work just fine. Now, I don't have any pricing or release on this yet, but I'm guessing it would probably be between the $40 to $60 mark, and if it is priced in that mark, I say pre-order it and get it while you can, because I think these things are going to sell. It's my new favorite tank, bar none. The Delta, the Sub-Tank, the Atlantis, K-Funs. This is now my go-to tank. Just a very, very awesome, very well-built tank. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I will see you in my next one, and as always, happy vaping.